the short presentation I will do and the presentation of Maria, you will be able to, will change the mode of the meeting, and you will be able to use your microphone and switch on your camera if it's okay for you, if you want to ask questions and so on. Okay. Okay, and we are live. I think that's it. Okay, perfecto. So we can start now. So hello everyone, my name is Theo. I'm project assistant at JEF Europe Secretariat, and I'm in charge of the Europe at School program. So today we're gonna have a webinar with Maria about inclusion and Roma minority. But first, I will start the webinar with a very short presentation of our project, because we are organizing sessions of webinar in the framework of the project Europe at School New Direction, funded by the European Youth Foundation of the Council of Europe. So what is it? So Europe at School, at the beginning, it's a program that was launched by JEF Europe 20 years ago, and the aim was to talk about European civic education to young people through non-formal educational tools. So this project, it's a one-year project, and actually the aim of the project, of the work plan, is to develop the competencies of members, volunteers, and educators to work with different disadvantaged groups of young people, such as young people with disability, young Roma and other minority group, the topic of the webinar of today, and young migrants and refugees background. Why? Because we want to be more inclusive, and we want to raise awareness about some issue that these disadvantaged groups can face in their daily life, and that some people are not aware of. So what are the activities of the work plan? The activities of the project, actually, they were we had to change them a bit because of the coronavirus, unfortunately, because we cannot meet people and have the opportunity to do like physical activities. So that's why we also have the webinars. And so at the beginning of the year, we had an expert meeting with different experts from different organizations, association, foundation, who were working with the disadvantaged groups, such as young people with disability, young Roma, and young migrants. And the outcome of the expert meeting was to create a manual of guidelines in order to properly implement activities with the young people from these target groups. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it, but we were supposed to have like capacity building trainings physically in March, from March to June, but they will be online now. But anyway, so then now September, October, the idea is to have like different webinars with expert speakers such as Maria today, in English, but also in different languages, such as French, German, Italian, and so forth, in order to reinforce the effectiveness of the project and to raise awareness about the issues to many people, as many people as possible. We also have, in order to do so, we also have like an activity which is podcast production. The idea is to young people, volunteers that are working or interested about the topic of inclusion in European civic education can create a podcast, produce a podcast in order to talk about one issue that young people, for example, young migrants or young Roma are facing in their daily life, and to, what can I say, and to like make clear and talk about what the EU is doing with their regulation and so on. For example, the podcast that will be released soon is about young non-accompanied migrants. And it's going to talk about these specific groups of young people and what the EU is actually doing or not to help this and support these young people. So October, November, we'll organize online capacity building trainings in order to develop the skills and the competencies of the young people, the volunteers, the educators that would like to implement activities afterwards, and but also to give them a few tips, a few methods, and the tools that we will create during the project in the project. And November, the idea is like to have online follow-up activities with pupils at school, but maybe also in center with the people and the participant of the online capacity building trainings. And finally, December, final conferences in different countries through different activities for 2 days in order to disseminate the outcome and the result of the project. So if you're interested to participate in the project activities, especially online capacity building trainings, just contact me at this email address, or you can go on the JEF Europe website and you will find my contacts. So today I'm pleased to welcome Maria Atanasova, a Young European of the Year 2020. She was rewarded from a German foundation. She will tell you the name better than I do, actually. And the topic of today is Roma minority in Europe from a young perspective. And yeah, the floor is yours. And thanks again, Maria.
Okay, hello, Theo, and hello to all the people that are watching us. It's nice to see you, and thank you for inviting me and doing this webinar. Of course, um, maybe before to start, I should say a few words about me, just shortly to introduce myself. So I'm Maria Atanasova. I come from Bulgaria. Um, I was working a few months ago with Romani youth, also with Romani organizations. I have experience working also in with kids deprived of parental care. So basically, I have experience working in with Romani people, but kind of um, social experience and activism mostly. And currently, I'm in Budapest. I'm a student, and I'm in quarantine now. It's been a crazy year, and here I cannot mention regarding actually the COVID-19, the pandemic situation, and how it's related, and what was the impact about for all the Roman communities. One of the main things I think is how actually the whole pandemic situation impacted to Roman kids. There was a problem with it that only Roman kids were left out of school because everything went online during the pandemic situation. So of course, universities and schools, but Romani kids, most of them didn't have access to internet connection or to computer devices. So that was a really bad experience for the whole educational system and for the Romani kids. I can say even that some of the Romani kids didn't have this this environment, study environment. We have places in Bulgaria. I'm talking here from my point of view from Bulgaria that we have some places where there is no tap water and electricity. Also, another main thing during the pandemic situation were the Romani settlements that they were closed, and only the Romani settlements. So because there were some checking points or by the police, people did the people who were living in the Roman settlements, they weren't allowed to go out to go to work or even to stores out of the Roman settlement. But if you were living like near to the Roman settlements in the neighborhood, so it was completely okay to go out, that was clearly really discriminative policy against Romani people. But still, that was like a really a long lockdown kind of lockdown for Romani people than to others. Also, there was another interesting thing. I was actually following how the media was talking about the Romani people. If there was anywhere an infected person in a Romani settlement, of course that was on TV, and it was kind of like a big thing. There were a lot of fake news actually going on that are spreading messages that Romani people are spreading the virus not only in Bulgaria but in Europe. Also, during this time, there was a Bulgarian politician in the European Parliament who actually made a video talking against Romani people and how they were spreading the virus and actually how they have to be in the settlements and closed. And nobody reacted against that, against this video, so it was kind of understood as a normal speech, which is really, really sad and talking a lot about our society in these days. And I can say that the pandemic situation just reveals all the problems that we had even before COVID-19. As a young person, as a Roma, so I can speak about, from my perspective, about Romani youth. Firstly, I want to say that in my opinion, we have a lot of different groups of youth. Some of the young people are already engaged in some activities in youth organizations, like volunteers, even activists. Some of them are engaging others from their communities and helping to their communities. But I can find something really interesting, and that is the identity building. Um, it's really interesting how, in general, Romani youth can recognize themselves as Roma. That's I think an issue to some of the young Roma people who are already in schools and universities because a lot of them they're hiding their ethnicity. They're not identify themselves as Roma, and I think that's because, of course, of all the challenges that they're going through. If the people around you know that you're Roma, so maybe they will behave in a different way and maybe will cause it prejudice and face of discrimination and stuff. But it's really important to, in general, to work on the identity building because that could help a lot. I mean, firstly, Roman youth they should feel comfortable to recognize themselves in the society as Roma because there is nothing wrong with it to be Roman, to be part of the Roman community. Yes, and Also, I can say that there is a big point of the Roman history that is missing in our state because we Roma kids and Roma youth and even like actually we never learn in school or universities about Roman culture and Roman history. We don't know about our culture, our history, our and also about artists and people who were contributing to in general to the history. I think we don't know about these things, and they're really important because when you're growing up, when you can recognize these people and these facts, so you can be really comfortable to say that you're Roma, and that definitely helps to build this identity and feel comfortable. Also, another thing that I find that is missing in our state now, it is active youth participation and the political representation. So clearly, we don't have enough Roma people who are politically active, and we don't have political representation, which is, I think, a problem because if we have better political representation, we will have better national policies, European policies, of course. In many of the policies and projects that are about Roma people, that are for Roma people, they are not written or made by Roma people, or in general, Roma people are not included in this decision-making process. And I think it's really, really important to be included. But hopefully, in future, we'll have better political representation. Of course, there are some positive perspectives. In Bulgaria and in Europe, of course, we have good practices, including young people, Roman young people, and engaging them in initiatives and projects. I can say here for an European project, and it is a good one, the European Roma Week. Unfortunately, during this year, before COVID-19 was cancelled, it's a 1 week in European Parliament. It's a really interesting initiative promoting Roma rights and including Roman youth. Another good practices we have now. I can see that we have more non-governmental organizations that are working with Romani people and that are helping and like empowering Romani people to engage others, which is great. And I can see that we have more and more active young people, not only who are active in a local level. We have like also in a national level, more active people in national level, and also it's starting this new wave of young people who are ready to participate and to empower. Yeah. Also, I can say that there is something that we all can do to change perceptions and stereotypes about Roma people. I mean, as a society, first of all, we can change our conversations in our daily life. We have to be aware of what is a stereotype, what is a perception, to do not allow to hear the stereotypes and hate speech, because that is actually the direction that can change the understanding, and also will have an impact of our behavior in general. And that's the way to change the stereotypes and perceptions, I think. Um, yeah, also if somebody wants to contact me, so here is also my email. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Maria, for your presentation and
Thank
talking
you.
about Roma issues, especially in the educational system. I'm gonna just switch the view for the webinar. So now the participants, if you want to ask any question, you can switch on your camera and talk. Wait a minute. Sorry about that. Up meeting. Normally, it's okay. You can switch on your camera and ask directly a question. But first, I would like to ask you one question
Yeah.
because I don't know if you, maybe I don't know, but the thing is like yesterday von der Leyen was talking during the State of Union speech, and at some point she mentioned discrimination and segregation in Europe, and she made a clear references to Roma segregation in Europe. But my question will be, so it was in her speech, but do you
Yeah.
think that the EU is actually doing enough to fight Roma discrimination and to support Roma community or minority in some countries? That would be my question.
Um, I think that there are a lot of things that can be done more. There is really good. It's nice that they're starting to be aware of the situation and to talk about it. But a few weeks ago, there was this case in the European Parliament. Romeo Franz from the German party. He is a German representative. He is Roma, and he was mentioning in a speech that in the European Parliament there are politicians who are clearly racist, and so they have a few words between these politicians, and one of them is a Bulgarian representative. I mean, it's definitely not okay that we have politicians, European politicians, in that in higher levels who can feel comfortable to talk things against minorities and to talk things against like immigration, refugees, and especially about minorities. And as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, that there were that there is a video online made by Bulgarian representative in the European Parliament. So he is still there in the European Parliament. Frequently in his speech, you can hear his name is Angel Jambaski. Um, and we can hear racist speech and hate speech. So clearly, I don't think that they are doing enough. If the politicians and the political representatives feel comfortable to speak in that way.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I understand what you're saying because yeah, if you want to do program and so on, but if you not give someone the opportunity, but you let someone do hate speech against Roma minority, then it's not gonna, yeah.
Of course, and also I think that the topic about discrimination and about the Roma minorities is really uncomfortable topic, and a lot of the politicians who are making the decisions, they're kind of afraid to raise this topic and talk about it. But years and years are going, and it's getting worse, and it's getting more difficult to talk about it. And we definitely should start
Mhm.
and raise these questions, because the reality is is just what it is, and we have to face it.
Mm, okay, and then the participant on click meeting, as you can see, you can raise your hand on the chat box if you want to ask a question. And I think Anne-Marie has a question. If
Okay, great.
am I right, Anne-Marie? The floor is yours.
I'll switch on my camera so you can see me. Hey.
Hello.
For the interesting insight view about the Roma and the challenges and the experience or your experience you exposed was very interesting. I would also have a question. It's related also to the question before Theo said about what can be concretely, do you have any ideas what could be concretely done as a project from the European level to implement and to get to support Roma people, and I don't know, kind of projects or what could be done from the European level or also from JEF concretely to support Roma. That would be interesting.
Thank you for the question. Thank you. Okay, I think here a few things that I have to mention. Firstly, before I understand that there are projects that we can make. I mean, from an European level, but firstly, before all that, there has to be a better monitoring, and from a European perspective um, to see what actually the governments are already done. As a project, I'm thinking about a project about housing, definitely, because it's not normal in 21st century people to live in these conditions, and in this direction there have to be, of course, projects, and not only an European impact, but I mean the national governments to be included and take it seriously, because there can be a lot of European projects, but if the national authorities they're not doing anything, so it's pointless. Yeah. So this is why I'm talking that much about youth participation and better political representation, because if there are so more people who are engaged in somehow with minorities, so they will know definitely the problems inside, what are the problems, and they will have better decisions.
Yeah, I see what you mean by raise awareness about some issues that maybe they don't face in their daily life, but then if you're aware of what's happening, you can, at your level and with your action, make kind of changements. Yeah. But I don't know if someone else has a question, but if not, I will go for my question. At some point at the beginning, you were talking about the difficulty for the Roma community, and especially the young people during the lockdowns, in the different countries in Europe and so on, because, well, during the lockdown, it was difficult for everyone, but for people who do not have access to digital platform or internet, on the internet in general, it can be even harder. And I would like to know, can you tell us a bit more about what were the issues that the Roma community was facing during the lockdowns, and especially during the virus? Because you said that at some point, Roma people were discriminated and segregated when someone within your community had the virus.
I said that actually the pandemic situation reveals all the problems that we already had before the pandemic situation. So of course there are in some levels, like in different levels, different problems. The main issue is, I think, the Roman settlements, the segregation. This is the main issue because the conditions that Romani people are living are really, really bad. And of course, here the government, they have the responsibility. I mean, if you are making some, how to say, like renovations and things in like in city and in the different neighborhoods, but not in the Romani community. So definitely they're contributing to these bad conditions. And there are a lot of kids who are living and growing up in these bad conditions. I can say they're um, when you're growing up in that kind of conditions and later on going in school and university, and also the environment is really challenging there because of the stereotypes, and also in that time you don't have a supportive community, and um, you don't know anything about the Romani community. I mean, about Romani culture and history. So it's clearly that, of course, you will have to say not recognize yourself as a Roma. Um, that's one of the main issues also, but it is kind of in a different level. So we can see how is the line. It's starting literally from a really early age by growing up in really bad conditions, then in schools and universities with a not supportive environment, and there is no understanding about it. And yeah, if you're lucky to made it like through all these things, some of the people are choosing to hide their ethnicity and do not recognize themselves as a Roma. So clearly, they have to be policies and to work from the physical, how to say, from physically from this settlement to the mindset of the people, and raising these topics in our daily life. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So it's like a very complex, actually, situation. And when there is like issue that everyone is facing, it's like emphasize, highlight a bit more even more the segregation that you're living in your daily life. And so the thing is like, I have maybe it's a question that young people maybe who are interested about inclusion are asking you every time, and maybe you have the same answer every time, but still I have to ask you, at our level of like young people who are aware about some these issues, what can we concretely do? Sorry, what can we do actually concretely, and if we can, how can we help the Roma community when you are not from the Roma community, but you know that the segregation and discrimination is still active, it's still like you still live it.
I think you're making good points here. First of all, I want to say that we don't have to be a part like of the problem to raise awareness about it. Clearly, like everyone can be like a Roma activist. I mean, and to raise awareness about it. What can be done? I think that if you are a young person or a youth organization, so if you're a young person, first of all, of course, as I mentioned earlier, that we can say every time that somebody is talking like racist and being racist and spreading some hate messages, and where we are hearing hate speech, we can definitely talk and say that okay, that's not okay, because Roma people are not only this and this. Also, there are a lot of a lot of Romani organizations who are working. Some of them in these communities, in these settlements. Some of them with kids. Some of them with young Roma people. So maybe if you're interested, you can be part of a youth organization that is helping like directly to Romani people, or even you can participate in some projects, initiatives, or donating. Yeah, there are a lot of ways to be part of it. And also, if you're talking about the youth organization, maybe to cooperate with another youth organization that is working with Romani communities or that has in its Roma members and activists. That could be also a really good practice, because then you can work about youth participation and maybe writing some policies and recommendations to initiate maybe some debates and dialogue with some political representatives, and talking about all these problems that we know about now about American.
Okay, yeah, I see. Sorry, I think I have a question.
Okay.
Someone want to ask a question on Facebook Live.
Okay.
A minute. Sorry about that. And yeah, okay, I do understand what you mean. But do you think, like, because the issue is like you're saying that actually the EU is trying to tackle some issue that the Roma community are facing in their daily life and so on, but it's mainly about national governments and so on. And because the level that can do concrete actions or programs or fighting that can fight the discrimination the Roma community is living, it's mainly national governments. But my question would be, is there any good, wait, sorry. Okay. National government at the European level that are doing actually concrete and real action in order to help and support the Roma community? Do you have like a few examples, like for example, regarding European, like civic education or educational system, for example? Do you know if some national government are doing good or implementing good programs in order to help the
Yeah.
Roma?
Unfortunately, I'm not aware of any.
Okay.
But there is one good example, and the Slovakian president. She is raising awareness actually about all minorities in the Slovak Republic. And I know that she's a really good example, and like cooperating with Romani organizations and with and supporting Romani communities. I think if I try to think about other political representatives with even mentioning in her speech anything about Romani people, they're not another. I think that's the only good example that I can mention.
Okay, so it's not a lot actually,
No.
and it can be improved way more than it actually the state of today. I don't know, the participant, do you have any question? Do you want to ask something to Maria? I'm still waiting for someone because I know that someone want to ask you a question on Facebook, but
Okay.
the
Let's
question
see.
popped up. But I do also have a question, and this will be more focused on the project we are actually managing within JEF Europe. It's about European civic education. Do you think that the Roma community feel like do you think they have like a European spirit? Do you think that they feel belonging to the European community or not?
That's really interesting question. Um, to be clear, it really depends. But I think that most of the Romani communities are even sometimes they're not feeling part of their own country.
Okay.
It's really hard to feel how to say even it's hard to feel European if I mean they don't recognize you as a
Yeah.
European citizen.
Yeah.
First, it starts from that. Yeah, and your mindset is really different when you are in a different position and you are facing a lot of different kind of problems.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
So it comes after like European feeling to be part of the European Union or European citizenship and so on will of course come after because you have other issues.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand. Okay.
yeah.
So
But but
yeah.
I think that in the youth organizations that there is a lot of young people who are really active. I can say that they have this mindset and they feel European. So that's why they are pushing to this harder, and they want to so to say that Romani people also are part of Europe and they are European citizens. And
Yeah.
I can yeah say that they are feeling and that's like yeah.
Okay. Thanks for your answer. Anne-Marie has a question again, but first I will just ask, I will just read the question of Shen, because he asked
Okay.
a question on Facebook Live. Thank you, Shen, for your question. So, he's from Malta, where we are not as directly exposed to the Roma community and the reality they face as opposed to other EU countries. So he's asking you if you can recommend a way, maybe literature, which will help young people like me to better empathize and understand both the history and the context of Roma youth.
Oh, that's really hard one because even we Romani youth are trying to get to know more about our culture and history because we cannot like learn in a formal way to school, university, or we don't know uh, um, like almost anything. And actually, I learned about Romani history and culture in the youth organization in the NGOs. There are resources online, some videos and articles even. Um, I can maybe I don't know write it here a name of a website that there is really interesting materials. Just give me a second to find it, or maybe I'll
Mhm,
put even a link and you can post it
mhm,
on Facebook. Yeah, it's if there is any sources that we can learn about Romani culture and history, they are actually made by research from Romani activists, and
mhm.
that's it. There is no like, or I'm not aware of it, like official sources. And Yeah, just let me to find it and I'll post it here and you can post on Facebook. And thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, if you want, you can also answer to his question on the Facebook Live page, and then everyone will be able
Yeah,
to
yeah,
have access to the resources.
yeah, I
Um,
will answer.
Perfect. Because yeah, actually, it's really interesting. I think we do have another question from Anne Marie.
Okay.
Go for it, Anne Marie.
Hi, do you hear me? Do you see me?
Yes,
Perfect.
we can hear you.
Okay, I have another question, which is going also in the sense of what has been asked now about sensibilization, or how do you get to know if you go, for example, someone from JEF would go to a school and talk to random normal pupil, what would be the key message you would like to pass to the children to get to know or to sensibilize the pupils about Roma community? What would be the key message or the key, to sum it up a bit? That would be interesting.
Thank you. Thank you a lot for the question. I think firstly, the main message has to be that we are all equal, equal, and we are all human beings, and to be part of this ethnic group, there is nothing wrong with it. Like you can be also proud if you're Roma. You can be proud also if you're any other ethnicity. There is nothing wrong with it. And kind of we have to send this message to people to be more open-minded. And I mean, there are of course different people, and if somebody is talking about the stereotypes, you can say that in any nation and ethnic group there are different people, and if somebody is like kind of a bad person, it is because of his personality and not because he belongs to any ethnic group. So definitely to be more open-minded and to do not hate because of just the ethnicity.
And as you say at the beginning, is like it starts with young people about the stereotypes they have against young Roma and the Roma community. So yeah, actually, it makes a lot of sense. I don't know if someone else want to ask another question.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie, for the question.
Also for the answer, very interesting, very enriching.
Thank you. And I'm gonna post here just a link. Of course, I
Mhm.
will make a comment on Facebook also about the resources. Yeah, that's a really nice idea.
Mhm.
I don't know how I didn't it didn't cross my mind to share some sources that I know
No,
now.
that's true. That actually, so for the people who weren't at the beginning of the webinar, I presented a bit the activity of the project. Europe at School New Direction. And the thing is, like, at some point, we were creating a manual of guidelines in which we give like advice and like tips, tools, methodology for young people to implement activities with young Roma and other like my European minorities. And that's true that actually I was doing some desk researches about the Roma minority and the Roma community in Europe in general. And that's true that, yeah, there is not a lot of documentation. I mean, of course there is, but we to have access to these documents or literature, it can be a bit hard to get access to it. So yeah, and so yeah, of course we will communicate to everyone the resources you will share to us. That would
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, maybe people will be interested. I even now I know like it come up to my mind that I know like website that you can kind of learn Romani language. It's
Oh,
really interesting, yeah. Even to just yeah to hear how it sounds and what it is, yeah. It's
okay.
interesting. So, yeah.
And yeah, actually, that's really nice because you talk about Roma languages. Um, and maybe it will be the last question of our webinar. Um, the Roma community, I saw like you have a flag of the Roma community, if I'm right, but you also have a language, official language or not. And the question I would like to ask you is, what make like the Roma community, is it a community that it's recognized at the European level with a flag and your own languages?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, we have an official flag and also like official version of alphabet, but I don't I don't know that like many places that you can officially study
Okay.
Romani language, and there are I think a few countries maybe who recognize Romani people as how to say the national part of their minorities. I think that North Macedonia is one of them. It is um, really good and some of the good things and the good examples. Yeah, but I know also that they have really active. They have a lot of active people and good youth organizations who are really also working actively. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. And well, you share a document that I'm gonna share on the Facebook live page. And then if no one else has a question, uh, I will thank you very much. I have to say thank you so much, Maria, for the webinar and for making yourself available for 1 hour. And thank you so much, everyone, for attending the webinar, both on Click Meeting and online. And if you're still, sorry, I have to do a bit of promotion of the project, but if you're interested about the Europe at School New Direction project, just do not hesitate to get in touch with us and we will happily answer to your question and we will let you know about the upcoming activities. Thank you so much, Maria, and thank you
Thank you
everyone.
so much. Thank you so much, and thank you for the organization. And yeah, to thank you to the participants.
Yeah, good question and very helpful and resources. And yeah, resources. It was really nice. Actually, I learned a
I
lot.
hope so.
That's
I
good.
hope so.
That's
Thank
good.
you again. So
Thank you so much, and have a good evening.
you too. Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye
Bye.
everyone.
Bye everyone.